All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's pray. Our Father, we just come before you again, and we ask your blessings, and we ask for your wisdom, and help us to be wise in our decisions. Help us to serve this county, Lord. Give us name.
Amen. Okay, well, welcome everybody. We close the meeting in March here. We'll start right off with county personnel and public comment. Is there any? All right, Dallas, come on out.
The state of Kansas is using some grant money to buy licenses for a malicious domain blocking service. They are making that available on a first come first served basis to public entities, and I feel like that's something we could definitely make use of. It looks like it's a 3-year license that'd be available to us at no charge. I did already I ran this by Auxon's cybersecurity team, and they said we could pretty easily implement. And it would just be an addition to our current security. So basically that just anytime we go out on the internet or stuff that comes in, it'll run through this filter and block any malicious domains so that it wouldn't make our network. But I wanted to get your opinion on that, see what you guys thought.
Okay, this is over and above what we've already got,
Correct.
correct? It's an add-on, but it'll give us better security. You'll have 2 different programs running, internet security, is that right? Like 2 different
Yeah.
vendors?
Correct. This would work through DNS, so we don't even need to install anything. We just need to change some stuff in the pipeline. So honestly, I don't see a downside to it.
That was gonna be my question. Why wouldn't we want to do this? In other words, there's usually something they go, well, it can affect the speed or it can do this or whatever. Is there any downside to this?
I really don't think so.
So as our IT guy, you don't see anything, and I mean, and it's no cost.
No cost to us, yeah, because it's using the grant money.
So then what are their hopes that after the 3 years that we would, if we don't get another grant, we would go ahead and. So in other words, they're selling a product and they're hoping that we like it enough that we continue in the future possibly, if there's no more grants.
Yes, I could see that happening, and honestly, worst case scenario, we just stop using it after
Right.
that time period. We're no worse off.
Okay.
So if you did keep using it, it'd be like close to $100,000 a year.
Honestly, I don't know about the price.
So is this 282 for 3 years? or
Oh, yeah.
for
That's
3
true.
years?
That would likely be the 3 years.
Yeah, it's, that's when I was looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, well, they're wanting to get that out to you so you can, in the event that there's only partial grant money or whatever, you're already using their system and there's a chance they might have.
Yeah, very true. And I don't exactly know how their licensing cost is set up, but if they wouldn't want to continue at that price, that wouldn't be feasible for our county, and I would just stop it at that time.
So my only other question is that, I've signed up personally for things in the past and it's free. And then after a certain time period, then they start charging you automatically if you don't cancel it. Is this one of those things that if we weren't thinking about it in 3 years, they would continue it and then we'd get a bill? Or is there a way to set a reminder that at the end of that term, we have to notify them and say we no longer are going to be using it because of cost?
To my knowledge, we will not be providing them with any kind of payment information.
Okay,
They could potentially send a bill, but I would need to make sure to stay diligent and.
so you could just set
Correct.
yourself a reminder and say, hey, in 3 years, we need to be. Okay. Because I've fallen victim to that myself, where it's something you like, and then you realize all of a sudden you start getting a bill for it and you forgot to cancel it. So,
And is this the only documentation, these 2 pages we have,
Yes, that's what I received.
Okay.
The company providing it, Akami, is very well known and is that our MSP Oxen didn't have any qualms about it.
Okay.
I pretty much trust, that's what they tell me.
Based on the recommendation, cost being 0, I'll make a motion that we approve this County Secure Internet Access License for 3 years. At no cost to the county, is that?
It looks like we would need a motion to apply and then give the county clerk signature authority.
To apply?
So I have one more question. Akami obviously does not sound like a Chinese firm. It sounds like a Japanese firm actually, but this is not a Chinese firm that provides this,
I don't believe so. I've heard the name before. I have not ever heard anything or badly about them. But I'm not exactly sure.
But that's a good point. I think we ought to check in and make sure it isn't. Those.
It went through the state of Kansas, but you're out.
And then another comment I had is, I agree with what Richard said, that you need to make sure it doesn't
Oh, just try to build it.
continue on, yeah, forever.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So,
There's a possibility at some point, there may be a point where I create an account and then that would give me the oversight that I need. Otherwise, I would follow up with the state to make sure that we don't get billed.
Yeah, it's like $93,000 a year if we were paying for it. So
Yeah.
it's a big number for us.
Well, I just read this as it's 3 years. It's 3 years and that. That's the way I read it. So then I guess I had a motion that was incorrect, so I'll withdraw that. Are you guys not?
This came from through the state of Kansas though, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, obviously. Okay.
Yes, this email invitation came from the Kansas Information Security Office.
Okay, so it's passing there. It's passing the muster with the state of Kansas then.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good.
You feel comfortable moving on it one way or the other?
yeah, with those stipulations,
Okay.
it's not automatic to continue
Does
after
someone,
the approvers.
just I'll make sure of that. Want to make a motion then? So we have to give a motion to allow. What was it? You're fine. Can we do that in one motion? Okay, well, I would make a motion to apply for this county internet grant and to give the county clerk signature authority on that.
I'll second it.
Guess we moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. That's done.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, thank you. All right, any more county personnel or public comment? Seeing none. Is Austin, is he live? Okay.
I am live, my friends. Good morning or good afternoon, I should say. Hello.
Good afternoon to you, Austin. We have you as item number 5, but I don't know what your timeline is, so would you like to just jump in and?
Sure. Why not? I'll give you a rundown on a number of things. So the first thing was I had a good conversation with the sheriff. We're working through some transport issues related to mentally ill persons, how that's working and cost recouping for that, because sometimes we're transporting to Larned or Osawatomie hospitals, and there's significant costs related to that. So that's a conversation that's ongoing. We're still waiting for feedback back from the tribe on the MOU. That's taken a little longer than I expected, that's for sure, but our work's done there. I'm monitoring, although I'm not involved in the Hiawatha conversations, because their attorney said, hey, I basically not released me to be a part of that, which is fine. They're progressing internally. I know Commissioner Richard is helping to drive with that. I had a good meeting in Nemaha County with a representative of Sailor Insurance. I talked about this with Commissioner Richard. They may be able to do a third bid on what our insurance potential run rate looks like for 26, and so getting them some information may be good as a third counterpart. There's that. I had a meeting with part of the representatives on that alternative bridge technology, and I sent them our specs. I'm trying to follow up with them in the next 2 weeks to hopefully get a meeting with at least Commissioner Richard, if not the entire commission by Zoom, and talk about what next steps might look like and how that might work on the alternative bridge technology there. So there's that. I am starting to talk to Commissioner Richard a little bit later than last week about what it would look like for a 5-year capital improvement plan that would be a part of this year's budget to try to help streamline some things so we know what we're looking at down the barrel, if you will. And so there's that conversation that's, I think, ready for a next step. We just need to put some legs around it, if you will. And I think,
Hey, Austin.
yeah.
Since you were talking about that, just basically what he was talking about is the forecasting. We've all been talking about trying to do a 3-year forecast, be looking out, and it would have to do with everybody in the courthouse. For instance, if Nikki's department thinks that she's going to have big expenditures on equipment or whatever 2 years from now, or if the road and bridge guys think they're going to have big expenditures, just trying to get them to give us that information. So as we go into this year's budgeting, I know it's early, but we could be putting things out there on the calendar saying, I think we've got some big costs coming. That's what he's talking about with that, just to update you.
Okay.
Absolutely. And just sort of highlighting, we've got some budgetary consultant work that's going in the background. It'd be nice to have a really good understanding of what our expense outlays are going to look like in the next 3 to 5 years. If we're doing that this year as part of the budget process, that seems to make some sense. So that's the short update. But I know we've got a shorter than longer agenda today. So that probably provides some auxiliary workshop time, and I could be available for questions, but I'm in an area where there may be some spotty cell phone. So I'm glad that I was able to talk now. And then I'll just sort of stand for questions if there's anything else that's going on.
Do we have any loose ends we need that? We were talking about the emergency management. My ideas about splitting that position, but maybe we can. Can we talk about that, Austin? Your ideas on maybe sharing emergency management? I think I sent you a message last week.
Yes,
I mean, we haven't gotten too far in depth there, but is there anything we need to know if we're looking at splitting that department, maybe sharing it with another county?
No, I think what I would be doing is just planning around an interlocal agreement. I've had the initial conversation with Nemaha. There's interest there. I think we just have we don't even have to do an interlocal agreement. We can just engage that individual directly. And that individual, I think the strategy there would be, let's use the knowledge of that individual, the ability to apply for the grant. There's an emergency management planning grant that I think we would want to use, as well as there's a general equipment. You get certain levels of equipment every 2 or 3 years out of a state-funded roundtable. Everybody gets something, if you will. This past year it was a Polaris. And it was something every 3 or 4 years, but this year everybody decided that for emergency management they wanted to have off-road vehicles, so it was a Polaris that gave the grant. I don't remember that there was a match even with that, but anyway, this individual, I think we can engage with them on a part-time basis and then have them help in an auxiliary status with whomever is going to be our boots on the ground on a regular basis. So that could probably help there. So yeah, now that conversation has already started. We're ready to take the next step whenever the commission wants to have that next step, which probably is a executive session conversation for informal interview process, if that makes sense.
Okay. Any more questions for Austin? So you're in. If we have another question, I guess we'll be able to try and give you a call, Austin. Is it?
Oh
possible?
yeah. I would give me a call, or if one of the commissioners could text me, I'll try to rejoin then. I
Okay.
just think I'm probably gonna lose coverage here for a few minutes, but yeah, anytime, if any question comes up, just text me and I'll join back in, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, guys, I'll be available. Just text me. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I guess we will go into the minutes here. Item number 1, minutes from the 9th of March. Are there any additions, corrections, or comments to the minutes as presented?
I do not have any.
I'm fine with him.
Want to make a motion to approve?
I could move we approve the minutes for 3/9/2026.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Minutes are approved. Item number 2, the occupational license. You have that? Let's.
That's all one bill, it's one that, normally think of, this one should, and we find it and you deliver the notice today, if the minutes, then you get that.
Okay, okay, so
So in the past, we had a few of these come through already in the last couple months, if I remember right. Just these, yeah.
If they lose a second, folks, it's not real to go.
So the one on the table is for the Horton Mission Lake Country Club occupational license. Is there any discussion over it or any motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to approve the Mission Lake Country Club occupational license. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Another one we have here is for. This is a cereal malt beverage license for the Grandview Oil Company. Is there any, does anyone make a motion to approve this?
So is this a new business or is this, it's a renewal also?
Feel. Feel.
Okay.
So that's at their new location? No, that's in White Cloud.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. We approve the cereal malt beverage license for the Grandview Oil Company. Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Did that. Okay. Alice already talked about his cybersecurity grant, so we did that. Tax change orders, we looked at all those. One thing I found was pretty interesting was the one for the building. It went from 550,000 because it was gutted. by
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
previous
say,
owner.
if you read it, it looks like they were basing the value on an actual building that was ready to move into, and so it's been gutted by fire. My question is on, I think that was the only one that he had a little explanation. The other ones, there are no explanations. He just basically is passing a change order through where they are lowering the valuation, obviously due to a protest, correct?
That's what, yes.
No.
Okay. So there are no questions on that. We'll sign and drive. Okay. What next? Anything else?
So on the tax orders, you guys have been through this last year, you would have been going through this. So are we seeing more than usual protest, do you think, or do you guys have an opinion on that? Is this or kind of normal this time of year, we're seeing this amount?
It's not any less.
I think it's normal. When this started last year, they trickled in and then we got, I think we got 34, one.
Yeah.
And so I would anticipate this to get larger, but so far it's not in comparison to last year.
Okay.
Good. All right.
Hmm.
I've been getting some emails from Michelle Greenwald about the tax sale and the progress on that. Is anyone else receiving these emails?
I'm not.
No, can I forward these to you, Mickey, and have you distribute them there? Their address to Betty, and I should have assumed them at the meeting.
My question is, the last thing she sent out about the tax sales, is that for public publication or? Can I share that with some people in the public? The thing she put about the tax sale, how the tax sales go that she sent out last week.
Okay.
That three pages
Yeah.
example. Okay,
And she also said that that's still gonna be changed around a little bit, but that's kind of their outline that they're gonna follow.
So what I just forwarded on was a series of emails looking over the documents, and they're talking back and forth with the treasurer and the tax attorney. You guys may find it valuable. You did mention that thing we noticed about the location description. Citizen board would tax and all. There
okay.
you go. And then there's another one that's just typing back. They added a number. So there you go. Okay. Where do we want to go next?
Yeah, I don't know why we wouldn't talk to somebody. Well, the thing that's interesting about this, he's the truck driver, obviously CDL, and so it looks like when I read through here, he retired, and it looks like maybe he's trying to get a little bit of work. That's great, but there's also times when the county needs help. Like for instance, chip and sealing, they need help with truck driving, so we'd at least like to talk to him and keep his name. If they weren't gonna hire right now, at least have somebody that's local that has a CDL that could be one of the people they reach out to.
So I've been operating under the assumption that if we see these, that means our road bridge foreman, seeing them chosen to pass them along. Is that correct?
I don't necessarily know if that's true or not. I think, before when there was, because we were trying to bring some people on that would be hired immediately, I think that we were saying to John, for instance, why don't you talk to them and tell us what you think? So I don't necessarily think it always goes that way. So I don't know if John or Jerry has talked to this person at all.
Okay. Is there value in having that?
I definitely think so. Yes. Easy enough to. Then I'll call John after the meeting if that's okay. And that's sort of thing. Go ahead.
Okay, wonderful.
No,
My short answer is no. So, because that is.
but I might, yeah,
Garden City.
yeah,
Have you guys attended in the past to this? Do you know?
I was in one meeting.
Yeah.
It was in conjunction with the KC.
all right, we'll into that.
Yeah.
But I might be interested in the Hutchinson and come up later. Not politically, but it's a little closer in Garden City.
It would be fun. Right. Great. Okay. Anything else?
I request about bridge planks over there, some selling bridge planks. He's thought there, didn't talk to Jerry, but this person thought there was some down at Horton. I told him I didn't think it was.
Yeah, in the past, when I've inquired about them, they said they didn't wanna, that's like the last of their stock is what I was told.
That's what I thought, it's kind of what I told him, that
Yeah.
I didn't think he
Better keep it.
was getting rid of him.
All right. I noticed up on 270th South and East of Moab, where they placed a tube, tear out an old tube, looked like they were gonna extend part of it, and then they changed their mind and then put a whole new tube in. So-
Right.
So that'll be good, because that's a pretty narrow spot in that particular road.
So we originally thought that had a concrete base in that what was there, but there wasn't any concrete, so I did, already saw it clear through.
Okay.
Um, You look up there, you can about see how much drainage there is, and Jerry checked and he thought that was a 5'2" was fine, big enough.
All right. And would you,
Was this in a township or was it in the county?
It's on the county,
Okay.
it's on 270th.
right where Keith is working at Goldfinch in 270, it's just west of there, maybe a mile and a half.
Yep, about now, yeah.
Okay. And it's where the road actually narrowed up going over the tube, and the county had put warning signs because the road got small.
Channelized.
Originally, they widened the north side. If you look under it, that's been added on,
Okay,
but they didn't put anything on the south side. And somebody about ran off of it 6 months ago, a year ago.
and it's a tube we had in stock.
Well, we ordered that short one just for that,
Okay,
so we're gonna have that short one sitting around.
okay.
Guess if we need it, it needs to be longer, this can put two together.
A couple of them banned. Okay, well, that'll be good. My joke was when I was driving up there getting fertilizer, and there was a tube on the side of the road. And then I came the next day and there's a tube on the north side of the road. And I'm like, what? I didn't know the wind was blowing that hard.
Right, it was a lot shorter too.
Yeah.
So the deal on that tube was, it was supposed to go up on the county line or up north someplace, but they thought that was bigger than what they really needed up there, so we get 5 to 4 foot tube up there or something.
Okay.
They had any-
Okay.
they could use up there.
And since we're in the area, would you like to give any sort of report on the Goldfinch Road?
Yeah, well, I went out there the other day to check on their progress. These guys, they were getting with it. A lot of equipment on site and looked like a clean operation. The road it was free of debris, which is always a concern. So they were busy compacting and doing what they're doing, and we'll be reseeding it soon, obviously when the weather allows, but what I had requested was after it is done, our county guys are gonna go by and help dress up with the gravel that they're providing, not the county, but the local farmers there. But I also requested with Keith that we do like a 30-day follow-up. I'll go out there with him 30 days after it's done, take a look at it, see how it's handling, if we get any rain or whatever, and then after that, do like a 45-day follow-up, and let's just watch and see how it's going. But I think they're doing a really good job. These guys obviously, they've got the equipment for it. It's amazing how much equipment they had out there. So
So then the county employees working?
they were not there at the time, but the county employees we had a meeting on site. So we had both Jerry and John join me. We had a meeting and kind of memorialized what we had said, what the understanding was, what they needed from us. The county went out and provided some signs, some advanced warning signs, which we thought a good idea to get those up, some cones, that kind of thing. And then also, when the gravel is provided, then the county was gonna go out there with the road grader and help shape that gravel. And so,
Looked like some of that had been done,
yes, it probably has since I've been there.
and they looked like they had the roller out there.
Yeah, they're using our sheep's foot for compaction.
So that full type sheep foot, where'd that come from? Is
That's the county's also.
that's the one from the landfill?
There's two different size sheep foot that the county
Right.
has. So,
And then the brooms out there, like they swept it off after they dumped the gravel in the edge.
You know,
Did they use, I don't know, did they use a grader too?
they were planning on using the grader to do a follow-up on the gravel, and the gravel's completely.
Okay.
So,
I can attest to the corner being much easier to turn than Cinnamon, especially on the road coming back there. It's.
and that's one of those things, that's a haul road, right? Because of JR being down there. So those are the kind of pinch points that we ought to be taking over time. Let's look at our haul roads and see, even a simple radius widening can really make a difference for, there's probably a dozen of those in the county that we could be looking at, and those kind of things where we could be addressing them over time. That's gonna help the farmers get in there safer. And so I think it's a win-win for the county to try to fix this.
Yeah, I think they got in there and did a nice job. They did it quickly with lots of heavy equipment. It wasn't it wasn't a bunch of front end loaders on the tractor, they had the right tools. Yeah, they did a nice job. Okay, anything else?
I had a question about the landfill. I was told that the landfill was closed today, or they closed down, and I understand these high winds. There has to be some sort of a, I don't know, I guess, standard operating procedure for lack of better terms, but you know, we can't be dumping on the C and D pile, of course, when the wind's blowing 40, 50 miles an hour. I'm just wondering, in the past, do you know, how do we, if we're gonna make that decision, how do we get that out to the public? Because number one, you've got trash companies relying on that.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what the effects are gonna be. You get people driving out there to dump a trash truck.
You know, I'm happy.
Right. And so in the past, have we had to do that very often? Are you guys aware of that, or?
No, well,
We've closed the landfill due to high winds before. Last night, I did get a call, Brandon called and asked, because. And it was a management decision.
No, I think that's great. I'm glad that whoever's operating the landfill is reaching out, and it should be you as the chairman. I understand that, but I didn't know if that happened.
So there was a protocol, to my understanding, that Heather would contact the haulers and the radio station and
Okay,
so on and so forth.
okay.
So I believe that to be true, but I haven't heard anything.
Well, it probably is, but we can verify that with Brandon now that Brandon will be going forward and being an integral part of that.
Mhm.
I just wanted to make sure. Like I said, I received a text and I said, honestly, I will look into it. I don't know, but it seems like there is a procedure and.
The high winds, according to Brandon, the high winds, hams, when it gets over 30 miles an hour, hams won't send the trailer because they're too prone to tipping
okay.
empty on.
And I'm totally fine with that. I understand. I just didn't know if there was a
Would you like,
procedure.
would you like me to call him and maybe we could go over that procedure together as a group, just so we clearly
Yeah.
understand it?
I think that would be great.
Would that be all right? I mean, the county clerk a lot of times involved when things close down. Are you involved in that at all?
You ever get calls about that? Okay. Again, it sounds like we have a procedure in place. I just want to make sure they're being followed, and plus I want to be able to report back to people when they ask me. I'm not to say I don't know, so.
So that's good that, if they won't send the trailers, that's a good reason.
Sure.
And cause you have stuff sitting out past. Very
Yeah,
far, it goes everywhere,
Yeah, we have a duty as a county to not let our trash go onto the neighboring,
right?
farms and stuff, so. That's definitely makes sense why. I just didn't know exactly in the past how it's kind of almost like a snow day at the courthouse, right? If the courthouse was gonna be closed, there's a procedure to make the calls and.
All right, well, I'll ask him about it and we'll get something in place in
Sure.
writing so that we have concrete example. All right.
Yeah, and it would be nice even to have a sign printed up that they can throw on the gate that, county dump closed due to high winds. So when people are pulling up, they're not just trying to figure out what's going on. It'd be easy enough to throw out.
Or even a permanent sign that says if winds are over such and such, it's will be closed. So they don't even have to come down and look,
Yeah.
but
No,
that
it's a
may not.
struggle for folks. I met one trailer full coming away from there as I came into the meeting today. With a pickup pulling the trailer.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't get the message. So. I'll ask him about it.
It is interesting though. Most people probably don't understand the correlation between, Hams is providing the trailer.
Mhm.
We're providing the trash and trucking services doing the trucking. So it's not just a decision from Brown County, it's a decision
Right.
from the trash home.
So that's what I wasn't aware of, that if they weren't sending their trailers when it was windy, that makes. That pretty
this
much
was-
takes it out of our hands.
This was based on a phone call last night based on the weather forecast for today. So he has to make the decision based on the weather man.
Sure.
That's what he needs.
I was very windy last night, so.
I'll just call him for the meeting here and just tell him we'd like to visit and get something.
Sure.
See what we have and then just talk to him about it. All right.
Okay.
Okay, I would, I guess at this time, I would call for an executive.
We
Yep.
gotta put more.
Oh.
So when we do.
Be done, okay.
So my complaint, if you want also.
No,
Do I need to send letters with emergency management applicants? Looks like I can get the reconciliation. That's when I'm getting that.
I don't know, I'm sorry.
no, but
I don't know if we've made that decision yet, Nikki. I know the people that have talked to me about it, I said we still have not made a decision and it's ongoing. So I don't know if that's a little premature. I understand what you're trying to do is get the information out there, but
From what was said today, it doesn't sound like.
we don't know yet.
yeah, we're still floating that. I don't know. It sounds like one party may be agreeable, but the other guy may not, so. Yeah,
This is development and, information, you can, whatever. You know, and now today he's talking about sailors, so are we giving this out to bid, what is happening, because the fight was for Gamble, but now he's on the sailor or something else. I don't know, county council. Is he doing, what is he doing?
so I'm sorry, I didn't hear him say Sailor. Okay, I know Sailor runs Nemaha County. Get their insurance, possibly.
But
Yeah, I
if
know.
we put out bid, that's one thing, but this information you can do is, I mean, all our employees insurance. Stuff is.
All right.
So I've seen Sailor in the emails. Is that somebody that been on it before?
We were going to women, and that was near the end of it, and I was single over. And started. Then they, I think, if we have, I thought we had a contact with one digital. For the employee benefits,
Maybe we should just call him back and clarify. Should we call Austin back and clarify?
We can do that.
I'll send
And there's also a difference between requesting for bid and insurance companies basically soliciting and saying, wanting their name in the running when open enrollment happens again. I don't know if that's the case or not.
And I think. Information that, right, and we haven't even seen, I don't see that we find people. Who are that's not come here to talk about this, or this, we did, or this, stuff out like that. That's a scary. Feel good, it's all those colors, will be next week, November. So RBC for one. Maybe they have contract. I don't know if that's possibly what was signed up, at least in that Austin.
So I had sent an email, you sent an email back with, there was an agreement that was signed before.
Yeah, that's keeping, I don't know what to do with that, so.
Right. And that's, when I saw it, it was like, well, this obviously, so I don't know what's out there. I don't know what the contract language says about the county having the right, similar to on the services for the elderly with the food, the county had the right to extend that contract without going to bid. And I don't know if that,
Yeah, I can see the contract between the county and, and I haven't read the written thing for a while, so maybe it's in the, if he's willing to extend it. I don't know. But now I'm not.
okay. He did call me a couple weeks ago and asked basically if we were going to be going back out to bid again. And I told him as far as I know, but I said that I knew that with the landfill operator stepping down, he said there might be a delay in that during that time period, but we've already posted that it's a sealed bid and that bid date is still out there, so.
So I mean, if we're big, we're turning them.
Yeah.
Hello, all.
You're back. Hi,
Yes,
Austin.
sir. Yes. So I'm not sure about whether I think they may have reached out to Commissioner Richards once or twice to potentially quote it. I think they are interested in pursuing Sailor Insurance. I talked with them about whether because they're Nemaha's agent, and so I think they're interested in definitely quoting it. But yeah, no, I think that they're definitely interested. I think they've done some pursuit. I don't know that they're banging our door down, but I think they're trying to be respectful. But yes, they're actively pursuing, in my opinion. So
The question I sent him was just Is Sailor Insurance actively pursuing a Brown County business? Is that right?
Yeah, that is.
Okay,
Have everything everywhere.
What month are we talking about though? Does that usually go out to book? Or
So I think that they could definitely come in April. I think if we wait till May or June, we're behind the 8 ball. So we probably want to get our information back in April from Sailor. Hopefully that gives the hospital a month and a half to get their information back. And then we sharpen our pencils with our existing agent and figure out what's the best of the three.
so in your opinion, so open enrollment is usually October, correct?
Right. Yep, absolutely.
So what you're saying is if the county accepts bids for the health insurance, that would have to be in place by October, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we definitely need to have that done before October. We really need to have a partner picked by August, September if we're going to change. That gives our people a month and a half to adjust to a new reality, whatever that is. So right now it feels like we're early to be quoting this, but we're actually on time. So I think that's probably the next step is that, we were having informal conversations with 3 different providers. I think at some point we're asking them for bids. We don't have any formal requirement that we say, look, we have to do this specifically. So this is a fine way of doing it, but we've asked our three groups with local affiliation or somewhat local affiliation to give us information on pricing. And I think that's what we do is try to gather it by mid-May to hopefully pull a trigger June, July. Does that seem reasonable?
I guess my question is so our current. So what? Greg Watkins with Watco.
Right.
He has a current contract with Brown County.
Yes, sir.
And what is that contract date? In other words, is that a 2, 3, 1 year contract?
I don't know. We should find out. We should find out what that engagement looks like. That predates me. So, so yeah, that would be good. Maybe Nikki, could you send over a copy of the contract that we have with Watco so that way I can understand the terms and conditions better?
Because to me, that's where I would start with it is, I mean, if we have a 3-year contract with them, then we really can't be talking to anybody until that 3-year contract ends. Right?
Except we have a provision under the Kansas cash basis law, which means that everything should be terminable with some level of notice based off of budget year appropriation. So we're heading into a budget year of new appropriation. If we're going to try to appropriate less for insurance, there may be a way around that. So I do think that there's some flexibility. Usually that's why in the government contracts with a service provider, we have a termination after a year period of time to comply with the cash basis law. But I'll look at it and see how it's structured. I do think we have some flexibility, but it's a good idea to start the agreement. You're absolutely right.
Okay. So several months ago, somebody emailed me. They thought I get emails for people. They think this iPad is still Richard Lindquist. So I got an email from a gal and it just basically said that she was from Sailor Insurance. And I guess they're out of Sabetha or what, and they wanted to know if we would be accepting bids in the future. And I just simply told her that the best thing to do is come into the commission and talk to us. So that was my conversation with her. And I just assumed, I guess I should assume, but I just assumed that in the past, you guys have had different insurance companies come in and say, this is who I am, and I'd like to make a proposal when you guys are going for a proposal. But as of right now, I don't know when, normally in the normal flow of things, even if we were not talking to Amberwell right now, where Sailor wasn't talking to us or whoever bids the county health insurance, I don't know when that next time period would be based off of what we're currently obligated contractually with Watco.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to understand what the contract looks like.
Okay. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know why I think it's good if they want to come talk to us. That's the first step, that they need to come talk to us first.
Right.
I think so. I think that having people talk to us is a good idea. Also having an idea of what we're trying to get accomplished. I did explain the concept in a brief conversation with Sailor that, we're trying to everybody's trying to figure out a 5-year plan towards self-sustainability with an operating fund. It may turn out to be 7 to 10, but how do we get around a mill levy increase that's annualized? So, yep.
Okay, so you will contact Sailor Insurance and let her know if she'd like to come before the commission. She can schedule through the clerk and get on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'll contact her this week.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Any more questions while he's live? All right, thanks for checking back in.
No problem, guys. Call me anytime.
All right, goodbye. Okay,
So the agreement will be in place, so either party terminates the agreement within 90 days advance notice.
if you have it, maybe just send it to me. This is the agreement with One Digital. Okay.
When you get anything on list and you look at it,
So in a normal year, when you guys are dealing, so how long has Watkins been with the county? Watco,
4 years, maybe?
what is it, Watco or Watkins?
we're out from the.
One digit.
He sold.
He sold, yeah, I understand, but he's still gonna, he probably has a non-compete, he's probably gonna be there 2 years or a year stretch is usually what happens.
Or either 22 or 23.
Is when he came aboard. Okay, so then normally he would continue with going out to the market and he would bring us his results on prices and all that stuff. Okay, so I guess the big question would be, when would that be sunsetting and we would have to be talking to them? Because they could be the next, doesn't mean we don't sign back up with One Digital and do another 2 or 3 year stint. I'm just saying, when does One Digital think that they're gonna be in here talking to us and we'll be accepting bids, I guess, for lack of a better term,
They send emails when you get
Okay.
all of the state.
Okay, well, I don't think like I said, I don't think it hurts for him to call whoever runs Sailor and saying, if you'd like to talk to the commission, they're more than welcome to come and tell us about their company or whatever. It doesn't mean we're committing to go with them or anything, but we should at least know who they are. And then if it is this year or next year, when One Digital's contract would be ending, we should have several people at least quoting us.
They're not quoting the insurance company, they're just quoting their services. Like what Greg does,
Yes.
$4,000,
Yeah.
What exactly?
well, but we pay him $1,000 a month. So depending on what they.
Yeah, the thing is, you don't know until you talk to other people and see what, just like your normal insurance, when you go and take your normal policy to another guy and say, what can you do this year? Doesn't mean you commit to them, you're getting information and seeing what the
Right.
coverage is and what it costs.
I keep operating on the assumption that health insurance is very similar to state auto. And if I'm wrong, somebody needs to stop me, because in auto insurance, if you stay with the same company year after year, sometimes you get complacent and then the fees go up. But if you look outside to a different company, you'd be surprised at what your quote would be.
Sure.
So more information is better, but
Yeah.
it seems like in health insurance, there's a resistance to do that.
Well, part of it is what Nikki's bringing up is in order for insurance companies to say, we can give you this and it'll cost this, they want to know what their liability is with this.
Okay.
So in other words, if the county was all 20-year-old employees, your insurance would be lower because they look at the risk. If it's a mix, then it's going to reflect that. And so what she's bringing up is there is sensitive information that you just can't say. It's like we used to get a request all the time when I was doing business. They'd say, send us a copy of your financials. We'd love to talk to you. And it's like, we're not sending you our financials. If you want to quote us, you can come in and that's kind of the push pull that's going on right now.
Right.
But you are absolutely correct. And the only difference is my experience, and I'm not trying to say I have more experience than you guys. It's not that. It's what I learned was insurance is changing so quick because it is becoming so expensive that people are saying we don't know what to do. So there's so many different alternatives. I talked to a person today, and it wasn't necessarily about health insurance, but he was mentioning that he sold his company. And at the end, he got it to where he was doing a health savings account because he couldn't afford the premiums. He's giving his employees money. And the only reason he did that is because it was getting too expensive and he had to come up. So there's a lot of different things that are going on within the health insurance market that we should be aware of at least. We've always said, we're not trying to change health insurance for just a cheaper price. By any means. We can't just say, give us the cheapest price. We don't care what it is. But if there are alternatives, for instance, like what Amberwell was talking about, they are now looking at trying to figure out a way to say, hey, if you go with us, you don't have a copay and you do not have a deductible. Well, there's a lot of people that would say that's very enticing to me, not have that, that high deductible that I have to meet. Other companies are, like for instance, West Coast, they do HMO, have health maintenance organizations. Everybody's kind of changing what they're doing. Right now, Blue Cross seems to be, if you look in the state of Kansas, Blue Cross has like the majority of all the coverage from what I understand. But there are other companies that are trying to come in and offer things that are more enticing.
And here's my question. And so this information for the claims and all the census data is the same, one people has it now. Where have it, and say the ones that they're going to allow to bid for the same companies that one digital point.
Maybe,
Cross.
maybe.
It's like a market, and only certain businesses in this area do it. They're presenting the same information in the same company. I'm not sure what the difference would be, other than the fees that they charge to do so, like monthly fees.
Well, that's a good question. You would hope that if One Digital goes to Blue Cross and if Bicati goes to Blue Cross, they would get the exact same number, but that does not happen.
Do you know that?
From my experience, yes, it does not happen. Certain companies get better pricing based off of, I'm just telling you that happens. It's just, we dealt with bonding companies, we dealt with a ton of different Aon Insurance, all these different insurance companies. And are you familiar with reinsurance? Okay, you are. Are you guys familiar with reinsurance? Okay. So I'm just telling you that the numbers are not always the same. And that's why, as commissioners, our job is just to make sure that we're getting, again, there's a decision to be made on the kind of coverage that we offer. And we want it to be good, and it is good right now. We're not trying to say we want less coverage. We're just trying to make sure that we get the best price. And sometimes what you see is just like with K-Camp, when you start asking questions, they give you different options. We got $4,000 off of our policy with the historical building by simply asking questions and then coming in and saying, well, why don't we do this with your deductible? That's what a lot of this is about, is making sure when people ask us, what are we doing about the rising health cost? Our answer should be, we're looking at all different avenues every year. And it's not just a one time and you're done. It's every year you've got to kind of be looking to see what's out there and what's available. Otherwise, you, like you said, you almost get a little complacent and you just accept that this is what we have to pay. So it never hurts to have options, or some people tighten their pen, sharpen their pencil a little bit when they know they're bidding against other companies. So the best thing that could happen here, Nikki, is that we do this and we learn that One Digital is the best option out there. And that's a great thing to find out as you go. The people that we're with right now are, providing us the best deal. That's a wonderful thing.
And then my experience that sometimes the company gets you a lower rate, then the next year they up you,
That can happen, absolutely,
so
absolutely.
let's keep changing, but then.
Yeah, and I don't, the way One Digital, their price isn't gonna change just because they're under contract for
Right.
15,000 a year, I think. Does that sound right? 12,000 a month. So that's not gonna, they're not gonna get you that way, but
No, I'm not doing any problems with what we've been getting. What they've been providing for us. It's a insurance company that sell that I could be crossing other companies that sometimes I don't be aware of. And with the changes in the federal government with some, like the prescriptions and some of that stuff, we don't know where everything's going.
yeah. Yeah, it's a living document. It's constantly changing. And again, next year, if we're all still here next year, it's kind of the same thing. There'll be people coming and saying, we can give you something better, and it doesn't hurt to listen. I understand where she's talking about, we don't just be sending that kind of information out, and that's fine. But it's also, we have to understand the calendar. We need to know by this month, we need to have made a decision, or there's no time, right? And what we don't want to get into is we get to a point this year and go, well, there wasn't enough time to go get other quotes, so let's just go with what we're doing. Because I think people are relying on us to make sure that we're doing our job and we're doing our best to save the taxpayers' money.
It's a top 5 budget item.
Yeah,
That alone makes it worth
It's a
looking at.
big.
Now, I operate too, because I'm unfamiliar with a lot of this, that the information is, the word I'm gonna use is like commoditized. It tells us what happens, but there's no, is there personnel attached to it? Does that make sense? Like names?
Have names, date of birth.
Okay.
Sometimes it's pretty easy, but they would find them like.
well, see, that brings up a good question, Nikki. That could be a question for Austin or an attorney. What can be redacted? What should we or can we redact if we were to do that? Because a lot of times people ask for information and they want out it all. It might be one of those things we say in the future, if we're talking to an insurance company, this is what we'll give you. And this is it. That doesn't hurt to bring that up.
Wouldn't think you'd be giving names on
That's part of some, they ask for.
Of course, that information was given to, before it was One Digital, that would have been given to Watkins or Watco at the time too, when they were quoting us. Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to quote if they didn't have that here, so,
But they had also.
yes.
Plan.
Yeah, it's, look, it doesn't hurt to be cautious, it doesn't hurt to understand, but this is a process that is very complicated, and as you get through it, you understand a little bit more. The bottom line is, it doesn't hurt to slow down and ask questions and, understand what we're doing. And again, that's questions for an attorney also, like when they come to you, is there information that should be redacted? Or I just know that, like I said, I've been through this procedure a lot, and they come in and they want the information because they're basically wanting to know, are you high risk, medium risk, or low risk, or a combination of all, before they can say, we can give you, and unfortunately, like I said, if it was a bunch of young 20-year-olds, your insurance is a lot cheaper, but that's just not the real world.
Okay. Are we good on that then?
I think so, and I think he's just gonna tell the gal from Salem, if she wants to get on the agenda, she can come and talk to us about her company.
All right, fair enough then. Okay, so my list is run through. No,
it. You have anything else, Nikki?
deal. Okay, well, I've got one thing, I guess so I need, I think let's do a 10-minute executive session, non-elected personnel, paying for phone. With the 3 commissioners in the court. Right.
Okay.
Is there a second?
No, it's okay.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
All right.
Yeah, motion carried. I will. We'll have like a 1 minute delay so we can shut the technology off. Come back around 2:10. Ah, damn it.